The objective existence of flower plus the flower, both are negated. Then I negate more than what is negated. What is to be negated is objective existence of flower. Now I negate more than that. Objective existence of flower plus the flower. I'm negating more than what is negated. That is known as maximalist redundancy. Right? Okay. Say, then if I say that, okay, okay, if you tell me that, okay, I wanted the table clock, right? So we have to go to buy a table clock. Table clock. Table clock. How can you get it? Oh, you have to pay money. Then I give you 10 rupees. You told me that you have to pay money. I paid money. 10 rupees is money. Is this sufficient or not sufficient? This is minimalist inadequacy. Although it is correct that you have to pay money, but money, there is some certain limit there. It's not just you pay any money and that suffices. No. So what you paid is too minimal. Right? So likewise, if I say that, okay, what's the objective negation? Objective existence, what's the objective negation? Objective existence of flower? I said, no. Permanent flower. You remove, then I reject the permanent flower. Flower is permanent or not? No. I reject the permanent flower, but the objective flower still remains. So what you reject is too small. You could not reject the complete. That is known as minimalist inadequacy. Right? So you have to identify precisely, not more, not less. You have to precisely identify the objective negation. Only then when that is rejected, then you will get emptiness. Okay, when I was in my 20s, when I was, I think, maybe 22, 23, okay, is there anyone who is in 22, 23?
21.
Oh, 21, not 22, 23. You are the maximalist redundancy. Right? You are 21 and you say 22, 23. Okay, when I was 22, 23, I asked my teacher, right, about emptiness. And then my teacher gave me one example. My teacher, later on, his book will be very useful. Particularly, there are two books, one on emptiness, one on Bodhichitta. Emptiness is known as harmony of dependent origination and emptiness by Geshe by Venerable Geshe. Harmony of dependent origination and emptiness. So this on emptiness, he is exceptionally bright. Harmony of dependent origination and emptiness. And there are other books on Bodhichitta. The title is Bodhichitta, the same author. Right? Okay, so later on you will come to the sense that these two books are the indispensable for our, say, reference. Very helpful. Okay, so when I was asking so many questions on emptiness to him, he told me one thing which is very interesting. So now it is directly related to identifying the objective negation, avoiding the maximalist redundancy and minimalist inadequacy, right? So it's directly related to that. So one example he gave is that understanding emptiness, to get the correct understanding of emptiness, it is like this. He gave a beautiful example. Same. He showed me just A4 size paper, blank paper. Then he drew a line. Just a pencil line. And then he said, put this on the table. And from the distance, you have to roll a marble. You roll a marble. And the marble should sit on the line. It should not cross the line. It should not stop before the line. It must not cross the line. It should not stop before the line. It must sit on the line. And the line will not stop the ball. Right? The line and the non-line, there's no difference. Right? It should be the ball who should sit on the line, not the line will hold the ball. This is what he said. Right? So if you roll the ball, or you roll the ball and it did not even reach the line, it stopped before the line, this is minimalist inadequacy. Right? And then the next time, oh no, I should push harder. Right? You push hard and it cross the line. That is maximalist redundancy. Right? So you should avoid both the extremes. Maximalist redundancy and minimalist inadequacy. You have to avoid both and let the ball reach the line and stay there. That is the experience of emptiness. This is what he said. Right? Okay. Good, we will stop here. Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasangati Bodhi Swatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha. Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swatyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha. Okay, let us turn to okay, let us turn to page 208, the new book, page 208. The topic is dependent origination and emptiness, a compilation of excerpts from sutras and treatises for meditation. 201 in the old book, 208 in the new book. Okay, page 208. Okay, as we read this, this is the compilation of the very important passages. Many of them used by His Holiness the Dalai Lama during teaching on emptiness, and some of them they say we kept compiling, and in the process from what we studied while we were studying in the monastic universities. So there the important stanza pertaining to emptiness, And so all these things we compile together, put them together. So this is very helpful, and it would be good if we can say once in a week, or when you sit for retreats, then every day, otherwise once in a week, at least once a month. If you can read this, it will be extremely and greatly beneficial to activate the seed of the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, so for example, let's say the first, some of them are more the benefit, telling us the benefit of the meditation emptiness, and some of them are the actual reflections which we need to employ for our meditation. For example, the first passage, the Buddha is comparing between the two bodhisattvas. The bodhisattva who became bodhisattva for many lifetimes, who has been a bodhisattva for many lifetimes, but still not realized emptiness, one. Then another case of bodhisattva who freshly became bodhisattva, who just joined Jnana Bodhichitta and became bodhisattva, but already realized emptiness. So the Buddha Shakyamuni is comparing between these two bodhisattvas, saying that the bodhisattva, even if somebody has already followed this path for so many lifetimes, but if not realized emptiness, then the skillfulness part is missing. Whereas the bodhisattva who they newly became bodhisattva, and then the person still has the wisdom of emptiness, then the merit that this person with the wisdom of emptiness accumulates far excels that of the bodhisattva who has been bodhisattva for all many lifetimes. So this difference is made all because of the wisdom of emptiness. So from this we will be inspired to generate the wisdom of emptiness as soon as possible. Okay, with that in mind, let's recite. And then also for the purification, we speak about the 4 powers of purification, which I was asking, 4 powers of purification. And of this form, the one thing which is extremely important is the regret of the negativities, those which you know that you've done, those which you don't know you've done. So from the negativities we did in the past life, you don't know what they are. But still, whatever that is, the regret, it is, I would not be engaging in these, and henceforth I will not engage. And as a rectification, to meditate on emptiness, that is the extremely powerful and the most powerful the means to purify the negativities. Okay, and let us read together. Gift of Youth, Ratna Sutra. Arya Manjushri, whoever listens even without to this teaching on emptiness, generates much greater merit than a bodhisattva who, lacking skill in means, practices the 6 perfections for 100,000 eons. This being so, what is need there to say anything about a person who listens to this teaching without doubt? What need is there to say anything about a person who imparts the scripture in writing, memorizes it, and also teaches it thoroughly and extensively to others? The treasure of the 1,000 Gone Sutra. Any person who possesses all these 10 great non-virtues enters into the teaching of selflessness and is faith and conviction that all phenomena are from beginning pure of true existence, does not go to a bad rebirth. Chapter on Subduing Devil Sutra. If any bhikshu realizes that all phenomena are absolutely pacified of intrinsic existence, and the beginning of defilements is devoid of self-nature, it will remove the guilt of having defilements and make unstable the defilements. Even the immeasurable negativity is dysfunctional, let alone the secondary wrongs done associated with ethics and rituals. Deva's followed verses on the midway. This is very inspiring for us to read this and say what it says here is that when people discuss one emptiness and you have no interest in this, okay, but this doesn't make any sense, so you just discard it like this. So these are the indication that the person does not have much merit. Whereas somebody is discussing emptiness, although you are just the first time hearing it, what is this? That's interesting. That's interesting. For example, what some kind of intuition that came to Shamji, that if you get it, then all the mundane, what we consider very serious, very complicated, problematic things, they will seem to be like small children's, things. So this kind of feeling coming to you, and then they say, what is that line? What is emptiness line? What is this? So this kind of inquisitiveness or inquiry comes to you. This is what Buddha indicated as the indication of your merit. You have a tremendous merit. With the moment this thing happened to you, this is the basis for you to shatter this samsara into pieces. Samsara, the miseries, will just go into pieces. Okay, let's read this together. Adadeva's 400 verses on the middle way. Those with less merit will not even have a doubt in this dharma of ultimate reality. Should an envy ever arise in someone, it will shatter samsara into pieces. Acharya Chandrakrit is entering the middle way. Even as an ordinary being, when hearing about emptiness, if one experiences with an utter joy again and again, tears flowing from such pure joy moisten one's eyes, and one's hair stands on end, one is the seed of the wisdom of awakening. Upanishad requested sutra. The various delightful flowers blossom, and the sparkling supreme golden and balls stands to alluring. For none of these is their creator. They are postulated by the power of thought. It is through conceptualization that the world is imputed. Bhikkhuni Vajra's utterance in the fundamental vehicle sutra. The mind is demonic, which views the true self. You have a wrong view. These composition aggregates are empty. There is no being in them. Just as one designates a card in dependence upon a collection of parts, so we assert a conventional sentient being in dependence upon the aggregates. Venerable Shavara's writings. Searching for reality throughout space, one finds not the periphery nor the center. All perception sees completely. Likewise, through a thorough search of mind and phenomena, one finds not even an atom of essence. Since searching found, not seeing anything is seeing reality. Saint Sarah's writings. By entering into emptiness but devoid of compassion, one will not find the supreme path. By meditating upon compassion alone, one will not attain liberation but remain in samsara. The one capable of grasping the unity of the two will not remain in samsara nor abide in personal nirvana. King of Concentration Sutra. Just as in the dream of a young girl, she met with a boy and saw his death. Joyous was she at the meeting, and in anguish at his death. We were all phenomena as thus. Our Arjana's fundamental wisdom of the middle way. Ceasing of karmas and afflictions leads to nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from conceptual thoughts. These arise from mental elaboration of grasping a true existence. Elaboration ceases by or into emptiness. Neither the aggregates nor different from the aggregates. Aggregates don't depend on him, nor is he dependent on them. The Tathagata does not possess the aggregates, was the Tathagata. That which is dependently originates is posited to be empty independent existence. That being dependent is designated, this is the middle way. Since there is no phenomenon that is not dependently originated, therefore there is no phenomenon that is not empty. Arjana's precious challenge. If the person is not earth, not air, not space, not also consciousness, and not all of them, where is the person not of those? Just as a person is not truly existent because of the aggregation of the 6 elements, each element also is not truly existent as the aggregations of their own constituents. The Dharma Samkiti Sutra, these are some extra added in the old version, it may not be there. Form is like a mass of form, feeling is like a water bubble, perception is like a mirage, mental formations are like tending trees, consciousness is like an illusion, so taught Surya Mitra. Surya Mitra refers to the Buddha. Arjana's commentary on Bodhichitta. Those who understand this emptiness of phenomena, they are also conformed to the law of karma and its results. There is more amazing, there is more wondrous than wondrous. Deva's 400 verses on the middle way. When dependent arising is seen, ignorance does not occur. Thus, through all efforts trying to find this subject, His Holiness the Seventh Dalai Lama's rain shower of feeds, a song of the four mindfulnesses as a guide to the view of the middle way. At the crossroads of the six collections of consciousness that have diverse perceptions, are seen the hazy dualistic phenomena which are baseless. There is a magical show that is by nature deceptive. Don't believe them to be true, but view them as having the nature of emptiness. Don't let your mind go astray, but place it within the nature of appearance and emptiness. Through not losing mindfulness, hold it within the nature of appearance and emptiness. The sphere of appearing existing phenomena is pervaded by the space of the ultimate clear light of suchness. There is an ineffable ultimate reality. View this nature of emptiness through abandoning mental contrivances. Don't let your mind go astray, but place it within the ambience of reality. Through not losing mindfulness, hold it within the ambience of reality. His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama's prayer for proliferating the Dharma of land of snows. Venerable Marpala Zawa, Geshe, Dorji, and so on, the host of the precious guide you, the sources of blessings, the chair of excellent masters of this outstanding tradition, to you all I pray. Just keep him here. Let him be here. This one, Subaji, just keep it. He only needs attention. If you don't pay attention, he might leave or he'll sleep.
Maybe he got attracted by these words.
Yes, so basically, the moment we say go, sit, then he will not listen to you. He's getting attention. You just don't pay attention to him. See what he's doing. Okay.
To you all I pray, may the Buddha.
Yes, to you all I pray, may the Buddha Dharma of the land of snows blaze forevermore. All phenomena encompassing samsara and nirvana are but the radiance of spontaneous awareness. Awareness itself devoid of elaborations is a nature of Dharmakaya. Pervading all existences and appearances of samsara and nirvana is the great Mahamudra. May the Buddha Dharma of the land of snows blaze forevermore. Aranigarjuna's impressive Dharmadhatu. Impermanent, suffering, and empty, these three they purify the mind. And the Dharma that is unsurpassed and purify the mind is the lack of intrinsic nature. Concluding prayer in Lama Tsongkhapa's commentary on Aranigarjuna's fundamental wisdom of the middle way. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Ramajishri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of independent origination in particular, even at the cost of my life. Okay, this part, sadhana of Shri, this is extremely precious, and hopefully we'll explain it after the four essentials. So we'll say this together with 4 hands. Shri Heruga, Shri Heruga, Shri Heruga. Here is the selflessness of phenomena, the emptiness of mind, which is also everything, as it is imputed to be of course of nature. Ru is the selflessness of person, the emptiness of self that is navigated by the web of conceptual thought that grasps at the true person. Ka is the ultimate reality, the absence of the dissonant duality of subject and object. Shri is the non-dual exalted wisdom that abides in congruence with the emptiness of object. This is the meaning of Evam. Okay, continuation from the 4 essentials. Okay, the first essential is identified object negation. So what we said, in terms of object negation, we identified the objective existence or the independent existence as object negation. Then the question arises, what does it mean by objective existence? So then what we said is that there's something existing independent of the mind, not as they're independent of the causes and conditions, not as independent of the parts, independent of the cause conditions, independent parts. If we identify them as the object of negation, then we are identifying something very gross. but because negation of that does not amount to understanding emptiness. Right? So, what is to be identified is that something which exists independently of one's own mind. As simple as that. Okay, now what we do is that with that in mind, let's try to look at that person sitting next to you. Look at that person sitting next to you. And, okay, and then more than just seeing the person, see how the person appears to object real, or like your mind, like a movie projector, project the person. Just look at the person. Okay, enough. Good, good, good. Nariman so engrossed there. Okay, so tell me how did the other person appear to you? Like your mind projecting it, or the person so solid there, objectified there, and person appears to you?
Very solid.
So solid there and appearing. This is known as perceiving the person as objectively real. This is known as objectively real. This is known as existing independent of a mind. This is to be negated, right? And you wouldn't believe if this is negated, then nothing's left there, right? This is the feeling that can come to you. Okay, so it says that the experience of emptiness with the person, and the nothingness of the person, and the experience of emptiness of the person, these two at one point initially, these two seem to be very similar. You're getting it? Not just that not just what you speculate, when actually by following the four essentials. By following the four essentials, you get from the person really doesn't exist there, right? It is not really there. As though like tilting towards nihilism can actually come to you. So before we go into the four essentials, and then you learn from somewhere that okay, in Buddhism, nothing exists objectively, so everything is like it's coming from the mind. Well, nothing's really there. This is without analysis, you go to nihilism. Whereas through the four essentials, if you go there, you're not going to nihilism, you're going to the negation on the objective level. Yet, initially, because we are not exposed to this kind of understanding, the two seem to be very similar, and not that, oh, therefore this experience doesn't make any sense. Instead, you make up to the there's some inkling that nothing's really there. It's really what I'm discovering, right? So this is a fact. Nothing's really there. This kind of feeling can come to you. If such things happen, then the many advice were there, particular advice given by Manjushri. This advice were there pertaining to such situations where you get something that objectively nothing's there, objectively nothing's really there, and on top of that, you go to the, what do you call as maximalist redundancy, right? Not only you reject the objective existence, the tendency, experientially speaking, not just intellectually, experientially speaking, not only the objective existence of the object, but also you reject the object per se, so that the tendency can be there. Okay, so first we have to study. So such a self does not exist, which exists objectively, independently of our mind. The self, does it exist or not?
It exists.
Self, does it exist or not?
Yes, it exists.
In Buddhism, there's no
Yes.
self, right? Huh?
Self?
In Buddhism, there's no self.
Yes.
Buddhism talks about anatta, anatman. Okay, self does exist. So anatta is Pali, anatman is Sanskrit. Anatta, anatman, they all mean what? No objective self, right? Although literally we just say literally the Buddha taught, words are used to say selflessness, anatta, selflessness, meaning that there's no self. But it is like saying WHO, right? WHO, this is not to be understood as who, is to be understood as World Health Organization. It's a short form. Likewise, selflessness is a short form of the selflessness of objective existence. Okay, this is what we have to know. Now with this, But then the next is, how does such objectively existing self, how does it not exist? Right? Such objective negation. Once you identify that, we have to negate it. How to negate it? Okay. So for this, in the mornings we have been doing that Aranagarjuna stanzas. How many of you have this stanza by heart? If the mirage.
To be water, then why not go close to the mirage see water?
Okay, very good. Okay, we will say this 3 times together. No? If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? Okay, so now we go into the essential number 2, essential number 3. Right? Okay, so with all these backgrounds given earlier, it becomes easy now. Say, if the mirage, if you see that I'm in the water from distance, from 1 kilometer to 1 kilometer away from me, you see that I'm in water. You are just wondering whether it's water or mirage, right? So how to evaluate that? Go closer. Closer to us from where the mirage or the water is appearing. Coming closer, you realize there's nothing really there, everything's so dry, nothing's really there, right? So then you concluded, what I earlier saw as water was coming from my mind. It was just mirage, right? So what I earlier saw was water was empty. Empty, I saw something that is just coming from my mind. From the object seen as the water from the object, that's empty. It's all coming from my mind as mirage. Okay, so likewise, we have to go closer to this object. Closer to the object, okay, the self, right? I say if you can meditate on the emptiness of self, this would be extremely beneficial. This would be like a panacea to heal all our problems. We have to see the emptiness of the flower, see the emptiness of the flower, see the emptiness of self, see the emptiness of your friend, right? Say your mother, your father, your husband, your wife, your children. See the emptiness of yourself, see the emptiness of self. One meditation suffices, tackling all the disturbing emotions. Say, see the emptiness of flower, it tackles the emotions related to the flower. But my emotion, my anger, my attachment, not necessarily always with the flower. It can be with any other things. But with the meditation emptiness of self, there suffices tackling all the disturbing emotions within yourself. Because in all the disturbing emotions, flower may not be involved, Niraji may not be involved, my mother may not be involved, but this self is always involved. Right? Okay, right? You go to Delhi, it's a terrible weather, terribly cold, terribly hot, traffic, what? Pollution,
crime,
right?
Noise.
Okay, noise, that's true. Noise.
People.
Huh? Suraj is actually hinting, we 3 of us. Okay. So the thing is that there are no doubt there are cities worse than Delhi, right? In terms of pollution, in terms of traffic, but because we are very closely to, because each one of us, I have to go to Delhi, right? Because it's very immediate. So where there's eyes involved, then that becomes more prominent. Otherwise, there are a number of cities worse than Delhi. Can you imagine?
yes, Gaza Strip.
Pollution.
No, crime.
Pollution.
Beijing.
That's true.
Used to be.
Yeah. Okay. So the point is that this self, say the sound of a clam, like the sound of a clam, you can apply this to many points. So one, for example, say when the emotions arise, they arise through what? When this person, when I interact with the world, You getting it? When I interact with the flower, when I interact with the food, when I interact with the people, when I interact with the place, then these problems arise. You getting it? Some people, what they say is that, oh, it's so frustrating to be in the house. I just go to no man's land. People say, which means the family, the workplace, there's complication there, and we don't know. So complication with respect to I. So when we see that emptiness with this emptiness of I, then inside, wherever you go, if you successfully see this, wherever you go, you see that the situation is not as severe as you thought. They cannot really disturb you as much. It's amazing. Okay, so how do you see the emptiness of self? Once you know how to see the emptiness of self, you apply this to all the other objects, to your family, to your mother, father, husband, wife, children, friends, everyone. You apply this to others. And then, likewise, you can apply this to the inanimate objects like flower, food, or whatever, the weather, and so forth. Right? Okay. So the self, what we see is that the table. What we see is that this table is consisted of the top plank, and then what? Okay, that table, top plank, and the four legs, supported by the four legs, right? Very simple. Okay, the top plank is not the table, and the four legs are not the table. Put them together, invariably table arises, right? That we don't have to say magically create a table there. Just make sure that there are four legs there, top plank is there, table arises out of that. Right? You don't have to magically create. So this is by dependent origination. By dependence on the four legs and the top plank, table originates. Dependent origination. Just as the table originates, and nowhere you find the table. The legs are not the table, top plank is not the table. Yet, put them together, then they what? By dependence on these parts, table originates as a whole. Dependent origination. And then you plant the seed. Seed is not the rose flower. Water is not the rose flower. And the soils are not. Sunlight is not. Put them together by dependence on these causes and causes. Then later in time, the flower comes into origination. Dependent origination. So with the table, say the four legs and top plank of the table, the moment they are put together, instantly, without even say the split of a second, instantly the table arises simultaneously. Likewise, we have the five aggregates, right? We have the body and the mind. Body and the mind put together, instantly the self arises. It's not that self arises later. Instantly the self arises. There's nothing there as a self independent of the body and the mind. For example, say, I'm a male, I'm a female. That is purely because of the body. I'm compassionate, I'm not compassionate, I'm short-tempered, I'm the calm, cool person. Right? This is all because of the mind. This mind and the body come together, right? By dependence on these two things coming together, self originates. There's nothing there. As with two things together, then the self comes from outside and possess the object. These two come together, self originates. The flower, the petals, the parts all come together, then the flower originates. Now what's this mind? Right? Like this car. Car, the wheel, steering, then what? Engine, then the bonnet, and the whole body, right? They put together seats. Okay. Seats. Put them together. But because none of this is car. None of this is car. Put them together and then the car originates. But depends on this, car originates. This is how everything originates. Everything originates by this. So it's very strange. Now this is a car. Put them together. Then from distance you look at it, you see a car. Right? You see a car. For example, from distance you look at the collection of trees, you see a forest. You go into the forest, you don't see the forest, you see the individual trees. You're getting it? Likewise, say what do we call this beautiful flower? What do we call this beautiful flower? The same object, look at through electron microscope, you see just bunch of electrons, protons, neutrons, atoms, right? And none of this is flower. None of this flower. Then you take this aside, you look at the naked eyes, look at it, it appears as a flower. It's just the appearance. It's just the appearance. Really, from the object, it's just a bunch of electrons, protons, neutrons, right? And it appears a flower, and then we treat this a flower. Oh, there's a flower there, right? Okay, we need some flower to offer to the Buddha, right? You don't bring a bunch of stones, right? You bring another bunch of atoms, which we see as flower. Actually, what's the difference? Bunch of stones and bunch of flowers, bunch of the flowers. Bunch of stones, also bunch of electrons, protons, neutrons, and bunch of flowers, also bunch of electrons, protons. What's the difference? The only difference is that from distance they appear different. From distance. On this only difference. From this just appearance is coming. Just appearance is coming, that's nice. Right? Beyond this, you go there from the object side, there's no difference. There's no flower, there's no stone. You go to the object, nothing's really there. There's the flower or the stone. But from distance, we see things. For example, from distance you see as a forest. You agree with me? You don't see the individual trees. The moment you go into the forest, you don't see the forest, you see the individual trees. You're getting it? So we see that it's strange, it's just the appearance. Just appearance. And appearance is happening where? On the subject or on the object? Appearance is happening where?
From the
No, appearance is happening where? Appearance is happening, the reflection is happening where? On the object or on the mirror? On the subject. It's just appearance happening on your subject. The dream is happening on the mind, dreaming mind, right? Beyond that, there's nothing really there. It's just the mind where all these appearances are happening. And so therefore we see that, okay, this is a flower, yes. The same object you look at it through electron microscope, we just see a bunch of atoms. Where's the flower? Literally it is not there, right? So what we should be doing is that in order to get this, it can be quite scary. So therefore, oftentimes it is described as the wisdom of emptiness. Emptiness experience is very scary, right? The first time you get it, you say out of 1,000 people, say some will get the first experience, a tinge of a fear. A tinge of fear can come to you. Because this is what I don't believe, it's just appearance, beyond that nothing's there. No, I could not really digest this. Something must be there, right? But now I discovered that nothing's really there besides the appearance. Okay, so that comes to you and it's quite scary. And then 1 out of 1,000 or 1 out of 5,000, it can be overwhelmingly scary. But don't worry, it's just about like 50 to 20 people, right? It's not even 1,000, right? So 1,000, 1 out of 1,000, these things can happen. If that happens, right? I would say you are still a very fortunate person. When that experience comes to you, very fortunate. Only thing is that you must meet with somebody who meditates on emptiness. You getting it? You must meet that person, and then I'll try to listen to what advice given by Adam Jushri to Lama Tsongkhapa when you come to such a situation. Okay. Otherwise, for most of the people, there's a tinge of fear coming. When you first get a glimpse of emptiness, a tinge of a fear. And in some cases, a tranquility, a tinge of extreme peace, which we never experienced before, can come to you. And in some cases, say physiologically, you could feel that things are settling. Become so calm, tranquil, very briefly, right? Okay. Should these things happen, particularly fear, or when it's very tranquil, that is coming, everybody craves for that. This is very good, pleasant feeling. But if a tinge of fear comes to you, don't take it as a negative omen. It's very positive. You are very fortunate that you continue with this. You are following Gate, right? Okay. So there, when the tinge of fear comes, you continue meditating. You continue this meditation. Then this tinge of fear eventually will be replaced by tranquility, extreme peace of mind, extreme tranquility that come to you, right? So this fear will dissolve. Why this fear is coming? It's because of the clash of your old thinking, which says that everything is subjectively. Now new thinking, that nothing exists objectively. These two clash. The clash always creates sound, right? So the sound in the form of fear that arises. So this is not a bad thing. This is very auspicious. If that is happening to you, it's very auspicious. And sometimes it may happen, sometimes it may not happen. And you may be doing this practice, and then say, suddenly we never know when. Suddenly you may be curious to meditate on, say, you may go back, after going back to Mumbai, going back to Delhi, going back to Pune, and then you think of, oh, the time there, we meditated emptiness, and then we remember having met Sureshji, right? And what is Sureshji? He's just made of the five aggregates, right? The aggregate of the body is not Sureshji. Because Sureshji is very kind, the body, kind, not kind, doesn't make any sense. And his mind is not a male, female, right? And take away the mind, take away the body, there's no Sureshji there. Where's Sureshji? And suddenly, acute fear can come to you, quite overwhelming fear can come to you, but very brief. This can come to you. When that happens, it can come anytime, we never know. Right? So this, if it does come, don't think that, oh, I should stop meditating, it is very scary. No. You're very fortunate. That the clash is happening. When the clash is not happening, is always the self-grasping ignorance of winning. Winning, then there's no clash. Right? So the clash happens means self-grasping ignorance is being challenged by something. What is that? Wisdom of emptiness. That is challenging it. Right? This is a very auspicious indication. Okay, good. So now with this, what do we say? The second seal and the third seal. What's the second seal?
Essential.
No, the second essential. What is the second essential?
Essential of understanding the emptiness of the object being one.
Essential of understanding the emptiness of the objects being one with its parts. Right? Okay. So here what we do is that first we have to the same with the self. The self, we are nothing but made of body and the mind. Just as the table is nothing but made of the top line and the legs. Just as the flower is nothing other than the petals, right? Petals. And what else is there for the flower? Stamen, stalk. Sepal. What is sepal?
Green part.
Green part. Sepal. Thank you. Right.
Petals.
The petals. Except for these, there's nothing. There's a flower there. You put them together, but depends on these, then the flower originates. That's it. It's not that from there somewhere, then the flower comes magically. No, there's nothing magic there. These components are there. Then to your mind, the appearance of the flower comes. Appearance of the flower comes. That's the flower. Beyond that, nothing's really there. Right? Just the appearance of the flower comes. Okay. So this self, say, I'm a male, I'm a female. That is purely on the basis of the body. You agree with me or not? Good. So what we have is the body's one. Body. Then the mind. Number two, that I'm kind, that I'm not kind, that I'm intelligent, that I'm not intelligent, that I can sit for meditation for long, then I cannot sit for meditation for long. Right? All these are the characteristics of the mind. Right? Okay. Now, so with this mind is very complicated. Because this mind is very complicated, we try to look into the mind more closely. Going to look at the mind more closely, we see that the mind can be seen as a very generic mind, general mind. For example, we speak about, okay, let's say the Singaporean government. Let's say Singapore government. Well, Singaporean government is a very successful government. Let's say Singaporean government is a very successful government. What do you think Singaporean government is a very successful government? Because Singaporean government has many departments. Which department you are talking about? So we can speak about that Singaporean government is very successful, Indian government is very successful, American government is successful. In general, one thing. Then we go into detail. For example, okay, if somebody, say you meet somebody, you go to, for example, you go to Nigeria, and suddenly you meet somebody, and says, hey, where are you from? What is your answer?
India.
You will say that I'm from India. And the person says, which part of India? What's the answer? Pune. Then I was like, which part of Pune? Huh? Vajradhatu, he will not understand it. Then he will ask you, where is Vajradhatu? You cannot say in Pune. He knows that we are in Pune. Right? Where is Vajradhatu? So this he doesn't know. Pune. So tell me, when he says, where are you from? First you say, I'm from India. Which part of India? Pune. Which part of Pune? When the person asks this is indicating what? That he knows the Pune so well. You're getting it? That he knows the Pune so well. Likewise, say, oh, Singapore government is very efficient. Which part of the government? Which department? You're getting it? Which means that the person knows the Singapore government so well. Likewise, if you say that, okay, my mind is very complex. Which part of the mind? Right? Which part of the mind? Right? Compassion mind? Or the thinking mind? Or the meditative mind? Right? Okay, which part of the mind? Okay, so there, the mind has so many. So how do we distinguish the different departments? On what basis? Departments of the, let's say, the governments. According to functions. According to what they're doing. According to functions, right? According to functions, we demarcate the various departments. Likewise, our mind has so many such functions. So our mind also has many departments. Our mind has many departments, meaning our mind has many functions. On the basis of different functions, we categorize the mind into mental factors. Mental factors meaning the departments. Mental factors. You're getting it? So mind in general, Singapore government in general, you may be wondering, why he's not giving the example of Indian government? Because I'm in India, I can track in problem. Right? Two governments are there. It's very problematic. Okay, we should be very skilled. Shalimar is shocked, wow, it's amazing. Right? Okay, we should be very sensitive. If I praise this government so much, other side is coming up, I'll be in trouble. If I don't, okay, there's a problem. So keep it neutral. Right? Okay, it's very complicated. So the mind has so many functions. On the basis of this, we speak of these different functions, like the government, very functions. We speak about, hey, for the governments, there are so many functions. So then we speak about the departments for the governments. For the mind, there are so many functions. We speak about the mental factors. So the mind in general, government in general, and the specific departments. Mind in general and the specific mental factors. You're getting it? So our mind in general is known as the aggregate of consciousness. Our mind in general is known as aggregate of consciousness. Okay, now the mind in specific, the mind in the various functions. How many such functions are there?
Many.
Innumerable functions are there. Of these innumerable functions, say, for the sake of for the purpose of our spiritual growth, for the purpose of spiritual growth, say the Buddha and enlightened beings, they picked up 51 such mental functions. 51 mental functions, which are very much related to our spiritual mental growth. 51 mental functions are picked up. These are known as the 51 mental factors. If somebody is asked to how many mental factors are there, don't just say 51. Say they are innumerable. And what is specifically picked up, there are 51. Right? Okay. So if you really want to go into detail what these 51 are, you have to study the Buddhist psychology and all the materials are available. If you want to buy materials, you can buy materials there. If you want free materials, you can also get free materials from the bodhiwisdom.org. You can get all the free materials there, right? And still, if you don't know how to get these free materials, you can still write to me. You can write to me, we will make it available. Okay, so the texts available, the teachings on this also available for free. And if you want to buy, you can also buy. There are so many books available on the Buddhist psychology, published by Snowline, Wisdom. There are many books are there. Okay. So one book that I would suggest is on this psychology is by the Venerable Lati Rinpoche, Mind in Tibetan Buddhism. Mind in Tibetan Buddhism, Venerable Lati Rinpoche. And there's a very good book. And another book that I would suggest is one by the Geshe Geshe, very good book. He's a great scholar. And then still, I did not see that there's another book which I heard that came out was Geshe Ngawang Pende from America. He is I think 2 years senior to me. He's a very good Geshe, very good scholar. Geshe Ngawang Pende. Ngawang, Ngawang, Phende, Ngawang, Pende, Phendey, Pende. Okay. So I don't.
The first book with the Rinpoche's name.
Yes.
What is it? The Mind in Tibetan Buddhism.
A Mind in Tibetan Buddhism. Okay. And the author's name is Lati Rinpoche, Venerable Lati, L-A-T-I, Lati Rinpoche. And the second book is Buddhist Psychology. By Geshe Geshe. The book is Buddhist Psychology. Title of the book is Buddhist Psychology. Third one, I've not seen the book. I don't know the title. Third one. But I heard that the book by him also came up. So that book is, so if it is his book, he's a very good scholar. He's a very good scholar. It's worth reading it. Geshe Ngawang Pende. Okay. Now, the mind and the mental factors. So now, how many aggregates? We have found how many aggregates now? No, thus far.
51.
Aggregate of body, aggregate of consciousness. That's it. Only 2. Narimanji found 5 already. We found 2. Now what is left? So find the aggregates, meaning within us. What are we constituted of? Just as the table is constituted of the 4 legs and the top plank, likewise we are constituted of the 5 aggregates. Of the 5 aggregates, what we have found thus far is 2. What are they? Aggregate form and aggregate of consciousness. 2 are found. Now what is left is the mental factors are left. Mental factors, right? With the body and the mind, what we have is just body and the mind, right? And with the mind in general is done. Now the specific mental factors. Mental factors, there are 2 mental factors which are so important. One, which decides all our actions. One mental factor which decides all our actions. That is the mental factor of feeling. Mental factor of feeling that decides all our actions. Mental factor of feeling is so important. Because it is so important, feeling is counted as a separate aggregate of feeling. Okay, let's say, I don't know if how many you, yeah, so this is very important to explore inside the mind and how the mind works, right? With the feeling, how this feeling determines all actions, right? Okay, let's say that okay, let's say at one point, okay, by the way, okay, this, I'm trying to make things very easy, right? Okay, let's say, who is Pele?
Football player.
Very famous football.
Very famous, legendary football player. Don't just a football player, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, legendary football player, right? Okay, so what feeling comes to you when you hear his name?
Respect.
No, respect, no, now say the feeling in a technical sense, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, you're getting it?
Pleasant.
Respect, this is a very mundane way of understanding it.
Pleasant.
Now we are talking into very technical sense. Pleasant feeling also, so I'm not interested in football, so who cares? Right? Or, oh yeah, he's very special. Well, I very much, if there's a possibility for me to see him, I would be very much looking forward to see him, right? There's upliftment happening. And in some cases, I'm not interested. Even if it's possible, who cares? If this is your attitude, it's a neutral. And whereas, right? So if you are really, say for example, say because of the football, your brother, lost his leg, broken, right? And because of which, the moment you hear about football, it agitates you, right? King Pele, it agitates you, right? If that happens, then King Pele, right? It agitates you. Oh, don't mention his name, right? Football, don't mention football, okay? Because it creates what? It retrieves the unpleasant feeling of your brother having lost his, the leg. Okay. Now, this feeling. So, say people who generation-wise, my generation, and what oldest, for them Pele means the upliftment comes to us, and the younger ones. So here, the girl for the girls it may not be so interesting. Dorji, Messi, hey, Rahul.
I've read about him, so little bit, I feel little bit attraction to Pele.
To Pele, no. For you, who is like the football player.
The football player.
I'm not interested. I see
Not so
that.
much interested.
I can see that. Yeah. Okay. Same. There was a very young boy, age 13, and I was told that he is very interested in the football. I think 3 years ago, and I asked him. In my mind, who was the star? Pele, right? And I just heard like Messi, Ronaldo, this things. Otherwise, in my mind, it was Pele inscribed. And then I asked this boy, tell me, who's the football star? And I was told that he's a great fan of football, and he used to have the uniform. So everything is there, boot and everything is there with him. And I asked him, he said Messi. Then just 10 years old, I asked him, did you hear about, do you know Pele? He said yes. Right? And tell me, if you had to grade Pele and Messi, who would you grade? He said that Pele, and I said, Pele is a legendary. He said yes, but Pele was good during his time. Now the standard of football has increased dramatically. So the standard that Messi has reached is much better than, much more than Pele. He said that. Wow, I was so impressed. So the point that I'm saying is that for him, Pele means the really pleasant feeling doesn't really come to him. Messi means very pleasant. He's just stimulated, right? This boy is stimulated. Okay. So the point is that this feeling makes the person, for example, okay, if I keep on to this boy, if I keep on talking about Pele, do you think that he'll be interested? He'll not be interested. Even if his father tells him, hey, reply to Geshe, no, the energy to reply. The same, what do we say? All actions are determined by the feelings. Because he's not getting the pleasant feeling, the energy to, you know, to what? To move his lips, to move his the vocal, right? It's not coming. Whereas the moment I say, okay, now we switch to Messi, then he has a lot to say. He's so easy to, you know, it's coming up. So there's a pleasant feeling there. So this pleasant feeling determines all our actions. All our actions are determined by okay, let's say, for example, even if you must be looking forward to attend the party or a retreat or whatever. You're so looking forward to attend the retreat, and you already purchased the flight ticket, a train ticket, whatever. You already did the booking, and then the very next morning you heard a very, very, very sad story, tragic news. Your mind sinks, right? You feel so sad, you feel so low, the excitement disappeared. And then you may instantly cancel the program. You're getting it? Instantly you may cancel the program. Because they say this working, this movement is of going, that is given by the energy of the pleasant feeling. Now that is gone. Does it happen oftentimes, Narimanji?
Yes.
Yes, this happens. So therefore the point is, the Bodhisattva Shantideva in this book, okay, some of you have this book, Bodhisattva Shantideva, okay, yes, this book, there are several translations, right? So Bodhisattva Shantideva in chapter 6, dealing with anger, right? How to control the anger. Anger is the result of this unpleasant feeling inside. So he taught us how to tackle the unpleasant feeling. How to tackle the unpleasant feeling, not allowing the unpleasant feeling to arise, anger is not there. Right? So the feelings play a very important role in all our actions. All our actions are driven by the feelings. So therefore, the feeling is counted as a separate aggregate of feeling. Okay. Now how many aggregates gone?
3.
3 gone. Now there's another mental function which is so important, that decides the quality of your life. That decides the quality of your life. Okay, is there anyone who likes to share with us as to what you're doing? What your job is? Anyone? Yes, we've been...
I work at an indoor soft play area where the kids come and play with their parents.
Okay,
Yeah.
indoor...
Soft play area where the kids and parent or maybe one of the helper, they do come and play. Basically, it's an indoor soft play area for the kids.
Okay, indoor, what call it?
Soft play area.
Soft play.
Okay, indoor soft play area.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? You want to share what are you doing? Yes.
The rice mills.
Huh?
Rice mill.
Okay, you are running a rice mill. Okay. Anyone else? Who likes to share what are you doing? Okay, let's say or anyone designing, do design? No? Or any consultation? Or teaching? Oh, teaching over there. Let's say teaching here. Let's say teaching. And then you extend this to your profession also. Let's say teaching. So if I may know, two of you, what do you teach?
I don't teach. I run a school. Yeah.
You run a school.
Administrator.
Okay. Administrator. Yeah. And then?
I teach child psychology to teachers and training.
Okay, you teach
Child psychology.
Child psychology to the teachers and then?
Who are training to be teachers.
Okay.
Women training to be teachers.
Okay. In a way you are training the teachers in the field of child psychology. Okay. So let's say that So that teacher, are the several levels, world-renowned teachers, the same, what are you doing? The same thing. Are there people who are doing the same thing on the international level?
Yes.
Almost the level of Nobel laureate?
Yes.
They are? Can you got 2 names?
I can't name a few.
Okay, let's say if Freud is alive today, if Freud, Sigmund Freud, if he is alive today, maybe he is that level.
Yeah, maybe.
Not maybe.
Yeah. Yes.
No doubt. Right? Okay, let's say, Nita, what do you want to say? You want to be at your level or the level of Sigmund Freud?
Level of Sigmund Freud.
You want that level. Why Sigmund Freud? He's so far away from here, from India. Still his name is here. Why? Why?
What he taught or what he came up with is applicable for everybody, irrespective of where he was.
And then what you taught also applicable to everybody, right? What I teach also applicable everywhere, even in the other world galaxies. But my name is not there. Sigmund Freud's name is in India everywhere. Why?
Expert.
Best.
Expert.
Best, expert, best. You're getting it? What makes the best? What is that unique thing? Best. What do you mean by best? Because of the mental factor of discrimination. Right? Mental factor of discrimination. Okay. Say, I also paint. Not nowadays. When I was younger, I used to paint, and my painting used to be quite good. Yeah, quite good. And they very lively, very colorful. Right? Okay. If my painting, and then it's quite standard, right? Not just child's painting, quite standard. My painting and Michelangelo's painting. If we put together, most likelihood, many people will appreciate my painting better more than Michelangelo. Most likelihood, most people will appreciate my painting more. But who will appreciate Michelangelo's? Just look at it, there's no comparison. This one, who's ever painted this? The person may not identify who this was painted. This painter is a classic painter. So how come that you're comparing these two? There's no comparison at all. Discard this. My painting will be thrown away. But many people will appreciate mine one more because it's very colorful. Michelangelo is also colorful, right? But there's some people who say that what comparison is there? What a stupid thing that you're doing? This painting, by no means even it's close to here. Discard it, right? This painting is classic. I've never seen such a painting. Okay, who can make this distinction?
The expert.
Who has it
Only
there?
the experts. Only the experts who has this eye to see the nuances of the paintings. Right? Nuances of it. What is that skill? Having the nuances. This is known as the sharpness of the discrimination. Sharpness of the discrimination. So sharpness of the discrimination determines the quality of what you're doing. With the painting, which painting is classic, which painting is small children's painting, is determined by the sharpness of the quality pertaining to the painting. With the business, right? With the business, some people do, say, the software work, and then maybe earning, for example, like 20,000 rupees per month, or in some cases 1 lakh rupees per month. But some people like Steve Jobs and these people, right? It's not 20,000 rupees, it's just nothing for them. It's just nothing, right? For them, just with one signature, billions of dollars turnover happens. So why? Because of their acute sharpness of the discrimination pertaining to that particular area. You're getting it? It's the same job. People are doing software, he's also doing software. By the way, is he doing software now? Who's the software person? Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates and the people like us doing software work and like this. So if we compare the two, what he does, in 1 hour he makes millions of dollars. And here, the person makes like, in 1 hour, maybe 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees. What's the difference? Why? What's the difference? Why such a contrast? Because of the sharpness of the discrimination pertaining to the software engineering. You're getting it? Okay, so this discrimination, matter of fact discrimination, this word discrimination may not be a good word because this word, there's an ambiguity there. It has many shades here. One is that it is very negative. It is very negative, it is a negative connotation, but don't take it in the negative connotation, to distinguish, ability to distinguish things in the nuanced way. So where you have the ability to distinguish things in a nuanced way, you have a sharp mental factor of discrimination. Where you cannot do that, you have a dull, you don't have a, say, the sharp mental factor of discrimination. So mental factor of discrimination decides the quality of your life. Quality of your life. Say for example, even with the football, even with the music, then what? What do you call those people who taste the wine?
Wine taster.
Wine taster, is there other technical terms?
No.
Sommelier.
Huh?
Sommelier.
Sommelier. Wow.
Oh.
Geshe, are you sommelier? How come that you know this word? Amazing. Sommelier. Okay, I'm learning this. Okay, sommelier, right? Even if the people who are addicted to alcohol, they cannot be sommelier. You're getting it? Even if they have been drinking alcohol just like water, but they are not sommelier. What is sommelier?
It's discrimination.
Right? Say somebody who drink like water drinking, nobody pays him, you have to pay. What do you drink? You have to pay. Sommelier, you drink, people pay you. Right? Not just pay you, they pay you a lot. Right? Okay. So why? Why? Right? Some people they drink and they have to pay. Right? Others have to pay this person for drinking. And whereas in some cases, whatever you do, you have to pay that, pay for the wine, right? Why? Because some people don't have that discriminatory, the nuanced ability to distinguish the fineness of the alcohol, and some have. Those who have, they make money out of that, their skill, right? So whereas if the people who are alcoholic, if they have their skill, it's amazing, right? They don't have to pay, right? Just sit there and some of the companies come, 10 bottles there, and then you drink there. Right? Then you grade it, okay, 8 out of 10, right? And you took another one, again 7 out of 10. You don't have to pay, right? You don't have to pay, you're paid. It's amazing. You get everything free, all the alcohol free, and meanwhile you're paid. Whereas unfortunately, those who are drinkers, right? Nobody pays them. They have to pay for the drink that they buy. Every bottle they have to pay, right? Okay, so this is because of what? Because of the mental factor of the discrimination. So, mental factor of discrimination, that decides the quality of your life. Okay, how many mental factors gone?
4.
The aggregate is gone, 4 gone. Okay, now, mental factors, okay. Mental factors, out of the 51 mental factors, how many gone now? 2 are gone. How many left now?
49.
49 are left. Okay. Some mathematics is terrible.
Sorry, no, 51.
51 minus 2 is 1. Right. No, not Narimanji. Someone else.
A mistake.
Not Narimanji, somebody else. Okay. So the point is, 51 minus 2 is 49. In other words, except for these 2 mental factors, all other mental factors, 49 millions and trillions of mental factors are there, they all fall under the category of the 5th aggregate. 5th aggregate is known as aggregate of compositional factors. 5th aggregate is known as aggregate of compositional factors. Yes.
The feelings and discrimination. Is there any order when we actually?
Okay, this is a good question. Answer is yes. Okay, I would say there are 2 things. One, say the order in the sense of how how these are generated. 2, how they arise. Number 2, in the form of how we understand. How we understand? Yes, there's a sequence. There's a sequence. For that matter, we have to learn out of the 51 mental factors, there's one particular set. The one particular set known as the set of 5 omnipresent mental factors. A set of 5 omnipresent mental factors. 5 mental factors are put together in one set, known as omnipresent mental factors. Okay, so I don't want to digress too much. If the Shumangiji is interested in this, you have to ask me, somehow squeeze time from somewhere. When you get opportunity for good answers, you can ask us. We can do it. It's very easy. It's very easy. Okay, so now the point is the 5 aggregates. The 5 aggregates. Now we got the 5 aggregates, right? So what we are made of? We are made of 5 aggregates. 1. And same. Okay, we can classify the people here. We can classify the people here in so many ways. One way to classify the people here is, say, the boys and the girls. Correct? Not correct? Correct. Right? Either somebody should be boy, somebody should be girl. This is one way to classify. Another classification is, okay, the 30 and below and 30 plus. Correct? Not correct? Correct. Okay. Another way of classifying is that the people who live in the Pune for more than 5 years, and those who are not. Correct? Not correct? Correct. There are so many ways of classifying even the small group here. Likewise, the self. What this self is made of, there are so many ways of looking at it. One is that this self is made of 5 aggregates. This is one. Another way of looking at this is that this self is made of 6 elements. 6 elements. Perhaps 6 elements would be really easier. But to know the 5 aggregates is very important. 6 elements, for example, element 1. Earth, fire, water, air, space, and consciousness. Good. Okay, what are the 6 elements? Earth, fire, water, air, space, and consciousness. And it would be good if you can have this order. Sequence, proper sequence. This is the reason. Because later on, when you study more complicated the psychology, how the mind dissolves, right? So then all these order will come, right? Okay. And earth, fire, water, air, space, and consciousness. 6 elements. Okay. So just see that we are made. We see that we have the solid part, meaning the bone, the muscles, heart, the lungs, the spleen, all the solid parts, they form the element of earth. Then the water, the blood which is pumped in and out by the heart to the different parts of the body, that's the element of water. Then the element of fire, the body heat that we have, that is the element of fire. And then the air which we breathe in and out, that is the element of air. And then the space, the body space. The body space, say our body is made of billions of atoms, and the atoms are essentially vacuum in nature. Atoms, the space occupied by one atom, so there, whatever space occupied by one atom, so there we have the electrons and the nucleus. The nucleus consisting of the protons and neutrons, and the electrons. Space between the electrons and the nucleus, space is far bigger than the size of the electrons and the nucleus. So therefore, essentially we are just vacuum. Essentially we are vacuum in nature. But am I vacuum? I'm not vacuum. I'm a solid person. So the vacuum part is element space, and I am the solid person. So element of the space. And what is left now? Consciousness. Mind is left. Our mind. Okay, this is what I like to share with you. The consciousness is the English word. It's not a Sanskrit word, it's not a Hindi word, it's not the Pali, it's not a Tibetan, it's a Sanskrit word. No, it's an English word. So when we teach, say, these concepts which were developed in India, in Asia, in English language, we have to borrow English words. So to understand what the mind is, what the mind is, then the Buddhists take this word consciousness from English. And the other traditions, they use the same word consciousness to mean different concepts. So simply because somebody uses the word consciousness, don't interpret it the way you understand it. You're getting it? First we have to be a good listener. We should be a good listener. Listen to the other person, what the other person meant by when the person uses the word consciousness. Oftentimes, many traditions, they use the consciousness to understand the soul, the Atman, the spirit. In some cases, spirit, in some cases, soul. They understand it in different ways. They borrow this word to understand different things. Okay, so this is the one warning that I like to give you. So now, what I'm saying is that we are made of 5 aggregates, and also we are made of 6 elements. You getting it? Okay, we'll stop here. Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata